Are you coming to Bonaire to shore dive? Do you want to dive red slave? Would you like some tips, tricks, and other information to make your experience easier and much more enjoyable? Well, that's what we're talking about in this video, and we're doing it right now. Hey guys, Kevin here. We're on the southern end of Bonaire at the dive site Red Slave, and it's an incredible shore dive I know you're gonna love. We're gonna cover that in this video, tell you everything about it. But first, if you're new to our channel, my wife Liz and I, we love to travel, especially to sunny tropical locations where we can scuba dive. We have a particular passion for the island of Bonaire and the freedom with the shore diving you have here on this island. This is another in our series of videos on the different shore dive sites here on Bonaire. In these videos, we cover the best places to enter and exit the water, give an overview of the site under and out of the water, navigational tips, and a whole lot of other fun stuff. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, we'd love to have you join our community. So how about subscribing to our channel? Hit that notification bell so you'll be made aware when we have new content for you to enjoy. But right now, it is all about Red Slave. Now Red Slave, it's the last marked dive site on the western side on the southern end of Bonaire, and it's an incredible site. It's called Red Slave because you can see behind me the slave huts from days gone by, and it's Red Slave because different grades of salt were mined here and taken out of the salt pans, and the different colors on the shoreline of the obelisk are where the ships knew where to come get the particular grade of salt. And so this is the red grade of salt was picked up here in olden days, and so that's why it's called Red Slave. And I really do believe you need to come down and dive this site. It's incredible. You're going to see a lot of nice things here. It's in really, really good shape. A lot of folks skip this site because it is on the extreme end of the island, and it is exposed to some ocean swells at times. There may be times when you come here where you don't want to dive because it looks too rough, and it may be. So be cautious, decide whether or not it's something you want to do, but I think more than likely if you can dive it, you really need to because it's great. A lot of great soft coral intermixed with hard coral. You're going to see sea fans and sea whips. There are lots of schooling fish here because of its location on the island. It's kind of in a bend in the island where the water comes flowing, so it's not uncommon to see schools of snapper and black durgans, jacks. You'll see bigger fish. It's a big area where since we're getting close to the eastern side of the island, you may see some pelagics. So you never know what you're going to see here. A good place to see rays as well. It's got a beautiful long sandy white patch area in between shore and the reef drop-off. So it's great photography at the top of the wall, really dense soft coral intermixed with good sponges and some hard coral. So beautiful, beautiful site. I definitely think you need to come here and dive it. There is a chance for currents here. Don't let that put you off though. It's easy. Liz and I are going to show you how to do that. We're going to show you the best place to enter. Right now we're going to take a look at the exterior or the on land part of the dive site and give you some advice about that. So here's the dive site, folks, the parking area. You can see the slave huts. This is a very popular site on the island for photography. And with that in mind, there are tourists who come by, not just divers. I'd recommend if you could, park somewhere where your truck or car is not going to be in the way of folks enjoying Bonaire topside. You can see we've got a truck right here that's kind of parked in an area that's not the best when folks want to tour this site. So just keep that in mind when you're parking. Other than that, pretty straightforward. Once again, this is the last marked site on the western side of Bonaire and the very extreme southern end. Now, the best place to enter the water is going to be to the left of this final slave hut on the southern end. There's a well-worn path, so you're going to know exactly where to get in once you get here. We're going to take a look at this, and then Liz is going to demonstrate for us. But what I want to point out to you is this is a very rocky and treacherous slope. So you can see here lots of coral rubble that's going to shift under your feet. You've got a ledge or two, but lots of rock. Other than that though, it's your typical entry, but please be careful. Lots of rocks here. When you get down to the water, hopefully you can see in there you've got more rocks to deal with. So just be very careful as you're getting in. Use that walking stick we talk about in our things you must bring to Bonaire video. I'll put that down in the description. But you can see, even getting in, you've got rocks, you've got ankle twisting holes, you've got these ledges you need to deal with as you get in. So just be prepared for that and be careful. Even once you get past those rocks, you've got the algae type growth underneath in the water. That can be slippery, and it's still, you've got ridges that are uneven. So keep that in mind. The way I like to dive this site, you can just swim straight out if you want. There is a mooring buoy slightly south, which is an excellent place to start and finish your dive. Use that as a navigational marker. So if you swim out to that and then shoot a compass heading back before you descend back to where I'm standing now, and then do your dive, typically because of currents, you're going to dive north. Not every time, but it's typically, that's probably what you'll see, is that current flowing south. I've always encountered that here, but keep that in mind. But something else that's going to help you navigate once you get back to that mooring buoy is the main reef wall is out like it normally is on Bonaire, but there is somewhat of inner coral reef hugging the shore here. So once you get back to the mooring buoy after your dive, you're going to see towards shore some other things you can explore, and those are going to angle back up here towards the slave huts. So on your swim back from the mooring buoy on that compass heading, there is stuff to see. You'll know you're in the right place, and you'll come right on back out. These are some great shallows. This nice sandy patch, you can see the light water out there. A lot of garden eels and fun stuff like that. So don't discount the shallows just because there's not a lot of patch coral. A lot of good stuff to see in here on your swim back. Okay, Liz is going to demonstrate for us how to get in. She's got that walking stick, and let me tell you, I can't tell you how important it is to use those here on this dive site. A lot of uneven rocks and holes that can catch you off guard. Might not look like much on video, but trust me, when you're here, it's very different. She takes her time because you know there's rocks there that are going to fall under her feet. There are ankle twisting holes, but it's very uneven. It looks somewhat deceptive once you get past those rocks, but I'm telling you, it's one of those, hear me now, believe me later. It is very uneven. So it's absolutely doable. I think you must do it, but just be aware of that when you're getting into this entry. We've got some waves here. This can be a wavier and more surf action dive site. It's pretty calm today. So think about that when you decide when to dive it. Maybe try first thing in the morning. It's about 9 a.m. Here right now, but even earlier than that, you usually have good conditions. It looks good right now. Liz is making it about out. You can see the water's still at her knees, so you've got a longer walk out before you're floating and can put your fins on. So keep that in mind. The chances to fall go a lot further out here than they do on most sites, so just keep that in mind. Liz is going to walk out. Just take your time, use that walking stick coming out. If you notice on the back of her tank, those are the bungees. That's actually latex tubing we use to attach those sticks to our tank while we dive. Well folks, that's just about it here from Red Slave. We hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, how about giving us a thumbs up? Was this video helpful? If so, let us know in the comments what was most helpful for you. Are there other dive sites you'd like to see us make videos on about Bonaire? But anyway, I'm tired of talking about it. I'm ready to go diving. So I'm going to join Liz. I'm going to gear up and get in, and we'll see you at the next site.